Hello everyone. For today's video, we are going to do a little makeup tutorial on what you should probably do if you were to go into an interview, which I am doing today. So, and we're going to start off with primer. What we're going to be using is Power Grip Primer today. And why we're using this one is because we don't want any flaws in the makeup and no slippage in anything. And what I'm interviewing for today is a beauty advisor at Ulta. So I'm gonna try my best to keep everything simple and a little lightweight. But for the base, we're gonna do blush, concealer, and a tad bit of bronzer. We're gonna start off with bronzer first because bronzer is gonna be the one that I'm gonna be mostly worried about. Since all of that is on now, I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender and just blend that into my face. And as you can tell, I have a lot of redness at the top of my head. So what we're gonna do there is try and even out my skin tone after blending all this blush, concealer, and bronzer. And what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna go in with a little bit of some type of skin tint, but for today we're gonna be using this to like help with the evening of the complexion, but also to help us give us a little bit of a base to glow, because I don't really want to do some highlighter because I go a bit bonkers. I am highlighter blindness. And then what we're gonna do with this now is we're gonna go on to blush, and I'm using the Camo Liquid Blush in the shade Coral Crush. For bronzer, I used an LA Colors Conceal It, Cover It, and Corrector Concealer. I got it at Walmart for like a couple bucks. And for blush, what we're gonna do a little differently today so that we have it lasting a little bit more than normal is, so I'm not gonna blend it with any brush or blender. I'm gonna go in with my 2 fingers and I'm just gonna pat that into my skin and tap it until I get everything blended out to a place where I like it. And then I'm gonna tap the excess off of my fingers, and then I'm gonna go in with the beauty blender and just tap it into my skin so I have a more even look. And now I'm just gonna blend my nose with my middle finger, and I'm just gonna blend it up my nose and a little bit down my tip. Same thing, go with my beauty blender and just top that off. Same thing on this side with the 2 fingers and just blend it out. And the one thing I like about this concealer is that it's blush is that it is pigmented, but it is also very, very nice, and it has just a little bit of a subtle finish. Why I did quotation is because of how pigmented it is. But then I'm gonna go in a little bit again with that and just do that. And before I do concealer, I'm gonna go in with the Halo Glow. I'm gonna just shake it up a bit. And now what I'm gonna do is put this in the places I would normally put concealer besides my under eyes. And For my forehead, what we're gonna do is, since I have more breakouts there, is I'm gonna tap them on top of the pimple patches that I have and just blend that out with the back of the Beauty Blender and just tap that into my skin as best as I can. And then when I'm done tapping it into the places that I don't have any product, I'll tap that into the rest of my face for a more blended look. And then I'm gonna bring it back down here into my chin area, which I also have some redness in. And then again, blend it upwards into my blush. And then I'm gonna go in with the forehead and just tap it all into my forehead, to my hairline. And that is this done. Now I'm gonna go in with my concealer and just go in with the places that didn't get a bunch of coverage with the Halo Glow, like some breakout spots that are with the pimple patches, and then my under eyes, which I want to go light with my concealer, and I'm gonna let that sit for like a couple seconds. And what I'll do during that is I'll go in with setting spray and just do all over my face to give us that more of a glowy look. And while we're waiting, I'm gonna grab in my Halo Glow setting powder, and I'm just gonna get that ready for after I'm done blending out concealer. And then of course my beauty puff. And now I'm gonna go in with my fingers and I'm gonna blend that concealer around the eye first before I blend it into my crease and where I get the most creases. And now that that's done, I'm gonna go to the outer corner and just blend that in. And then with what is left over on my finger, I'm gonna tap it on the back of my hand so there's less product. And then I'm gonna go in and just tap that into my under eyes. And I want all of this to be done with your finger. I don't want a beauty blender. I don't want it to go in with a beauty blender. I don't want you to go in with a brush. I just want you to use your finger and just blend all of it out. First around the nose area and into the outer corner. And I want all of you to do this when we get to the outer corner is to lift up. I don't want you to go down, I want you to go up. And then when we get most of the product, then you can go under your eye and just blend that into your and I'm just gonna switch fingers to a more cleaner finger and just blend that in. And look, that is one good looking under eye. I'm gonna grab a mirror and just make sure I got concealer blended out evenly. It looks like I did. So now what I'm gonna do with the places that I put concealer on my forehead is, since it's more red, I'm gonna just do a couple taps around the concealer place that I did. And what I'll do different here is that since I have more redness on the chin, I'm gonna bring it down since I put a lot of concealer on my forehead. And same thing here that I did under the eyes is I want you to do all of this with your finger. The only difference is now this time I do want you to bring in a beauty blender or a brush to help you blend everything together. And the one thing I like about this concealer is that it is not too drying. It does not look patchy in ways depending on how you use it. And now I'm gonna just blend that into anything else. Hopefully when I have my like hair done for the interview, it'll cover the pimple patches a little bit. But this is the concealer part done. Now we're gonna go in with a powder puff. I'm using Halo Glow. Tap your Access powder on the back of your hand and then go in under your eyes. And after you get your eyes, you're gonna go into the places that you think will need more coverage and would need a little bit more of a like less glowy, like your chin area, your forehead. For me, I need to put these in the places that I put my concealer for my forehead a lot. And then while we let that sit under my eyes, we're just gonna wipe away what we put on my forehead and stuff. And now that we're done with that, we're gonna let that sit. And what I'm gonna do now is with the leftover powder.
Karen,
What?
have you been using my the coconut oil?
Yes? You don't use it.
I know.
Exactly. And with the leftover powder on the puff, you'll put that into places that just are a little shiny and just pat that into the skin very nicely. And with a brush, I'm going to use this brush for blush. And for powdered blush today, we're going to use Patrick Cha in the shade She's Blushed. And we're just going to use the powder component today. And we're just going to do a couple taps. And I learned a new trick if you do this. Get some more powder throughout the whole brush. And I'm just going to go pat into the skin. Which, the thing I love about this powdered blush is that it's pigmented, but it's also very, very light. So it doesn't give off a huge coverage of blush. And then we're gonna do the other side now. And blush is done. So now that we're done with blush, I'll go in with this powder, this blush again. And just wipe away the powder from under the eyes. And what I do to blend everything together is I just go in with this big brush that's supposed to be it's an ultimate blending brush, and I'm just going to tap everywhere that I put some blush and other things and just blend them out. And now that my base is done, we're gonna go in with a tiny bit of highlighter, not a lot, a tiny bit. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray a little bit of my setting spray onto the brush. I'm not gonna do too much. That's all I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna let that dry down. And we're gonna use the Sunrise Hike Super Shock Shadow from ColourPop and just do a couple taps and just blend that in. And now that that is done, I'm gonna close that off because that's all the highlighter I'm gonna do today. We wanted to keep it very simple. And I'm gonna wipe the rest of what I have on my brush off, and I'm gonna go in with the same brush and just grab a tiny mirror like the one I have on my hands and just make sure everything is blended out seamlessly. There's not too much. And then I'm gonna go in with this liquid liner that's a highlighter, and I got this from Shein. It's a liner from Declu, and I don't know what shade this is in. I can't read most of it, but it's this really shiny, it's got like it's very glittery hue. It's very pretty. It blends out very nicely. I'm just gonna put this very softly under my eye. And what I do, instead of dragging my pen, I tap. And then we're gonna do the same thing under my eyebrow, which for my eyebrows, we didn't do anything. I'm just gonna brush them up with an eyebrow comb from e.l.f. and just dab that underneath my brow bone. Switch to the other side. And for mascara, I'll do that off camera. I'm gonna do mascara very last. Same thing with lips. But for lips, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of this serum blush. And first I'm gonna put on some chapstick because my lips are dry. And then I'm gonna go in with the blush and just put a tiny bit on the back of my hand. Grab this beauty blender. Grab a little bit on the tip. I'm gonna make a kissy face in. Blend that in. And then I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. lip tint in the shade Pinkies Up. And put that on my lips. And then kiss whatever I had left over on the back of my hand, which I didn't have much. And now I'm gonna go off camera, do my hair, and also put on my mascara. And for mascara, I'm using the Size Up volumizing mascara at Sephora. This is the makeup for the interview. And then this is the hair. It's just a little bit of a simple bun with some curly pieces out. And yeah, thank you for joining today's video. And yeah.